Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and welcome back to the Operation Hill 100 Heart channel where we do what? Focus on healing, humor, and hot motherfucking topics. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. Please make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video and listen to it in its entirety because I want to hear your feedback. Let's get it going. Dear Deja, let me get right into it. I met this guy about 8 months ago that I'm really feeling. Things have been going well, and we're starting to get a little hot and heavy. Last week, he spent the weekend with me, and Sunday morning, we were having some real low key, deep conversation about who we've dealt with in the past. He shared with me that on a drunk night, he slipped up and fucked a transgender man. So I said, wait, a born female who identifies as male? And he said, yeah, and then proceeded to show me a pic. Deja, there's nothing feminine looking about this individual. There's every bit of masculinity. I asked, how did you even get aroused? He said, she still got a pussy and she used to be a bitch. She just looked like that now. I almost threw up in my mouth. Deja, I was ready to get serious with this man, and I think he is low key gay. What the fuck am I gonna do? Send help, sign. My new man be fucking dudes, man. Ooh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as per usual, I have to get a I have to get a sip of my drink. I'm actually drinking some H2O. I'm actually drinking some water today. Ooh, okay. All right. So before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. And let's run it from the top. All right. So, my dear, what you started off with is that you and this gentleman have only been dating for, a short amount of time, which is 8 months, not even a year yet, right? So, you are still in the getting to know phase, which is a beautiful thing, right? Because you definitely want to get to know the folks that you are dealing with, right? Um, there's a few things to factor in here, right? One is his honesty, right? Because I can honestly hear in the way you're saying he described it, he doesn't feel like he did anything wrong, right? And you heard in his explanation, he said, listen, she still has a vagina. Um, she's still a woman, right? So because of that, I felt it was okay for me to sleep with this person, right? Now, the only issue with that is, although he may still view her as a woman, she wants to be and identifies as a man, right? And I don't know how secure he would be surrounded in the thoughts of, even though you have a vagina and even though you're still a woman, um, you still have all your womanly parts, right? I didn't I don't want to be known as the man who slept with another woman who identifies as a man. But then the other part about that is I think he feels comfortable because he still sees this person as a woman. Right. So therefore he had no issue with sharing with you, hey, this is what I did. I enjoyed this, so on and so forth. I honestly don't know if he necessarily I don't get whether he did or didn't want to do this because he started off by saying he accidentally slipped up and did it. But at the end of the day, you still did it. So it's either A, you wanted to do it and you had to get drunk enough to get the courage up to do it, or B, you you're ashamed of what you did. So you're trying to act as though you did it because you got drunk. Either way, he admitted it, right? And I'm learning in this day and age that no matter how brutal I may feel the truth is, I want to hear it. I want to hear it, right? So I think we can applaud the fact that he did share and he was honest with you, and you guys are still in the getting to know phase. Because in relationships, most times people show what they're representative in the getting to know phase, and they're not telling you every little thing, right? So because of that, you kind of should feel good knowing that, okay, well, at least he's forthcoming with his ish, and I ain't got to find things out about him 2, 3, 4 years later down the line, right? My only concern is what I just said to you, him identifying if that was something he always wanted to do, or if that, and if it's something that he's ashamed of, right? I kind of couldn't gauge between the two because remember, it started off with, oh, I slipped up on a drunk night, right? But then the other part about it is defending it like, well, yeah, I did it because they still have womanly parts, and I feel like they're still a woman, even though they identify as male. So once again, we can give the gentleman a little bit of grace for being honest, right? That's one part of it, right? So because you want to definitely recognize the strengths, right? That's part A. Part B is now, after you've given him his grace, taking it off of him and now circling back to you. Number one, do you give a damn about him being honest? Because that's another thing. I just said that I would like folks to show up with who they are and be honest with me and have the best intention, no matter how brutal or harsh it may be. But again, this is me. I don't know you personally, so I don't know what you prefer. Do you feel like he deserves grace for being honest? Right? Is that something you feel like you would rather have not known? Right? And then the other part about it is, and now that you do know, now what? Now what? Right? So let's try to dissect this as much as you possibly can, because I think if you're saying that you thought that this person could be the love of your life and so on and so forth, but then he also did something that you kind of gave off the impression it low-key repulsed you, is this situation going to work and can it continue? And that's a fair thing to ask of yourself before you even get to him, right? Because one of the things you said at the end of your letter was like, I feel like he's low key gay, and it doesn't seem like that's something that's what you would be interested in dating, and that a man may be, right? So, because the other part was like you said, you almost threw up in your mouth. So I'm assuming that you're not interested in dating a man that could be bisexual, right? I won't necessarily say gay, because what I'm assuming here is that he is dealing with you, who is a woman with a whole womanly parts, and the other person that he dealt with is technically a woman with a whole womanly parts. So I wouldn't necessarily say he was gay per se, right? But I think you're not interested in dealing with a man who may be bisexual, and that's fine. That's 100% fine. Everybody has their preferences. Everybody has what they like. So you are not being forced to deal with anyone that is not your type, or engage in anything with anyone that you're not interested in. But you have to be clear on your parameters, and then you have to lay them out there. Right. So number one on the list, like I asked from the beginning, do you think that he deserves grace for being honest with you? Or is this some information that you would have rather not known? Because that's the other part about it. If you never knew this, right, from him, right, and you just heard it in the street years down the line when y'all already in love, right? Would this be something like, listen, I heard it could be a rumor, so I'm gonna still deal with him and let that play in the background? Or is it a situation where it's like, I know now and I can't unknow, so you're a fucking dub, right? I think you need to figure that part of it out, right? Once you figure out that part about him being honest, and if that's something that you can hold near and dear to your heart and give him credit for, the other part is assuming that he is bisexual because of this encounter, right? What does that mean for you? Because another thing was that he said, I think if I'm not mistaken, in your letter, you said he said this happened a couple of years ago, and according to him, it was an air quotes slip up, right? So I'm assuming that it's not behavior he wants to continue engaging in. And I think he feels like he didn't engage in it under the best circumstances, because he was inebriated and so on and so forth. So that may have been a one-time thing for him. If that was a one-time thing for him, even if he was just trying to explore, right, and ended up not liking it, if that was just a one-time thing for him, is there a way that you could see yourself continuing to deal with him? Or is it the fact that it even happened one time, I just cannot fucking do it, right? Also, the other part about that is being clear on what took place, and then being clear on what you can handle, and then being clear and conveying it, right? Sorry, you guys. So what took place, according to you, from what you got from him, was this was a one-time encounter. It was actually a slip up. It was on a night where he was drunk, and He doesn't view it as he did anything wrong because she still has her lady parts, right? Those are the facts. That's what you know, according to him, right? Does that mean that, okay, I think you can, I assume that you could slip up again with a woman who looks like a man because she still has her lady parts and what she looks like doesn't matter to you? Or I think it was a one time thing and you're good. The other part about that too, right, is and I kind of have the same issue as well. So I do not want to judge you, my dear. I have the same issue. I am not interested in dating or being in a relationship with a bisexual man either. And only because I feel like masculine men and feminine women, they look, the optics of it is very different. It's very different. So in my mind, if you're interested in that, then you're not interested in me, and I want to be with somebody who I feel is interested and attracted to me. Right. And I know that people will be like, well, that's not true, because some people could be into light skinned men and into dark skinned men, right? It can vary, right? That's not the way my mind views it. I view it as, if you're into a masculine figure, then I'm not the feminine figure that you really want, or vice versa. Or vice versa, because sometimes people could just want to dip in and dip out, right? I'm not interested in having a dip in and a dip out, and that's just my preference, right? You're entitled to have your own preference as well. You are entitled to have your own preference as well, and you are entitled to do what you need to do to make yourself happy. My concern is that you sound like you really like this person and kind of wanted to explore a future with them. Is it going to be that easy to say, if that's what you wanted to say, listen, I'm good on you, this ain't my flavor, neighbor, I'ma holler at you? Will it be that easy? Can it be that easy if this is the situation? So that would be my first question I would be asking in the healing heart session, would be, if that is the case, right? Let's just pretend in some world that that is the situation. And he's making it clear that, listen, I'm not saying that, I won't slip up again if the person have lady parts. And granted, speaking as though he wasn't with you, is that something that will either bother you, or that's something that it's like, no, I can get with that program, I can go around that, right? Or is it something that's just a hell motherfucking no? Like, and absolutely not. And once again, you have to be very clear on what you feel. So let's just say what you feel is, I am willing to be okay with it being a one-time thing, but you have to have clarity on if that's really the case, if it's a one-time thing. And then you have to also trust, if he says that to you, if that's even the truth, if that's even the truth, or whether it's the truth or not, can you believe it? Because that's the other part about it. He could be telling you the truth and saying, listen, this is what it is, and I'm keeping it real with you. But the back of your mind, you could be saying, yeah, right, motherfucker, you want to do that shit again. That's what you're into, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's a very sticky and gray area. And I don't know if you guys know each other well enough to make it through the sticky and the gray. I think if you want to make it through the sticky and the gray, if that's what you want to do, I think that he made the best decision with being forthcoming and honest about this information. I really, really do, because I can only see that being the only way to proceed moving forward, is when folks are honest with you. If you're not honest with me and it's all is sticky and all is gray from the inception of our relationship, then when we get further on, it's going to be sticky, gray, and murky waters and everything else, because that's how it started off. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm not trying to take off on my boy, but I definitely want to give him some credit for being honest and forthcoming with this information. He ate that. Clock it. Okay? He definitely ate that, because how would you have known, right? So that's one part of it. The other part of it is, knowing is only half the battle. What's next up for you, my dear? What is next up for you? And for me, y'all know my famous line with the doggone Dear DJs. I'm always telling folks, pros and cons list, pros and cons list, pros and cons list. What are the pros and what are the cons in staying in this situation, if that's what you're thinking about doing? What is the pros and cons of leaving this situation, if that's what you're thinking about doing? And if the pros outweigh the cons, then you stick around or you leave, whichever list you're working from. That's another thing that you have to figure out and navigate. but you also have to figure out what your decision is first. So this is a tangly web we weave, my dear. This is a tangly web we weave. And also I was watching BravoCon, right? I was watching BravoCon, and this is just to kind of give you some context to the point I'm trying to make. And a woman stood up, and it was the Real Housewives of Atlanta panel, and they had people from the audience. They was able to they had like a Q&A session, and a woman stood up and she said, "Hey, Portia, nice to meet you, and I just want to ask a question. I know that you're recently divorced and you're back out in the dating field, and I'm also coming out of a long-term relationship. I would like to know, do you have any tips or advice for me for trying to get back out there?" So Portia gave a few tips and advice, and one of the things that she said that stuck with me, right, is she said, when you see one red flag, hit the road. Hit the road. And Cynthia chimed in and said, you don't need three. All you need is one. Once you see one red flag, hit the road. Don't wait around. Do not wait around. And I think that resonated with me because, in the work that I do, I am always interested in seeing the good in people and feeling like bad things happen for a reason, but we can get to the good and all of this, all of that. And I think in a lot of my relationships, not just romantic relationships, but friendships as well, I tend to skim past or skim over the red flags. And hearing that yesterday, it resonated with me because that has to stop. This right here, sweetie, sounds like a red flag. I'm not trying to say he's not a good guy. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't continue to be with him. I'm just saying that a situation y'all growing through right here in the beginning got you writing a Dear Deidre letter. I would definitely indicate this as ding, 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 ding. Sorry to say, a red flag. Do you want to stick around and wait for the three? Let's figure that out in your Operation Hill 100 Hearts one-on-one sessions. In any event, ladies and gentlemen, your motherfucking girl is guess who's back. We are entering the final lap of this year. Today is December 1st. We are entering the final lap of this year. This is the last month of this year. Y'all don't even understand how much I want this year to be over, okay? Y'all really don't understand. In any event, I'm happy to be back. I love this Dear Deidre letter. Shout out my Dear Deidre letter writers. I am literally backed up so far that I'm probably going to get murdered at this point. But listen, I got to do what I got to do. In any event, ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. You will see my gorgeous face in the place and on camera on Lit at 6 tomorrow as promised, because I'm back. Y'all know y'all girl birthday is coming in 60 days, no more than 60. Your girl will it will be Aquarius season. All bitches is eating. Y'all know what's up. Anyway, welcome back to the Operation Hill 100 channel, where you do what? Focus on healing, humor, and hot motherfucking topics. I'm so happy to be back. It's on. Hit the thumbs up on this video, and I will see you guys soon.